Holy jet nozzle, Batman! Hello there and welcome back to Build the Boys. You now have issue 48 of Hachette's Build the Batmobile Tumbler. And in this one, we are starting the back end of the vehicle with the jet nozzle. Tumbler's jet nozzle. Now, there isn't loads to do in this by any means, but so is the way it is. We are putting in what's essentially like a magnifying lens, almost like a Fresnel lens, which I think should, if it works, enhance the little LED in the back. It should actually make that. If it works the way I think it's going to work, I think this is actually quite clever. And there looks to be a very nice kind of like soot paint finish put on this, which I like. So it's not all clean. I think it looks quite good. But without further ado, let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. At the end of this one, we'll be talking about the search for Superman. And also the man that's going to make the man fly, the director, for Superman Returns. But without further ado, let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. Okay, so let's find out what we get in issue 48. Nozzles. So there's the parts going to make up the nozzle, and these are the parts. Those are going to be the screws, and this should be the lens. It is the lens. Right. Put this to one side. Those more observant amongst you would have noticed, put a screwdriver through my hand. If you've never put a screwdriver through your hand, are you even a part worker? We've all done it. There is our lens. So it's a cone lens. Good. Right. Okay, let's get this one built. Okay, so this all seems fairly straightforward, which might be the famous last words. But let's see how we're going to go. So let's going to put this in first. So rounded side upwards. So open side down. It immediately flipped as soon as I did that. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. So that's that one on there. Now we're going to attach, especially with the right part. Yep. So this is going to then go and sit into there like so. And where are we going? Take one of the Boston screws, because that's in there. Right. So to hold this in place, what we're going to do is going to turn this one up. Yeah, how's that going to work? Because that just fell straight out. Huh. That's interesting. I want to turn this one upside down, but that just immediately fell out when I did that. So how's that ever going to work? Because I think I need to push that down. I did. Right there we go. Right, let's try that again. Okay, so you want this to line up. So what I'm going to do is take these. So we need all of these to line up with these like so. I'm going to hold those in place with the LP screws. This is a very simple one, but we can real time it, I suppose. That's good. These are, I don't know what's going on with this build, but these are tiny screws, man. Really little screws. That's kind of been the theme of this one. Very weird. These are LPs as well, so that means they're going into plastics. There is no reason for you to use 3-in-1 oil on this. You go in plastic to plastic. Don't use oil. You don't need to. Just let the screw find its hole. I'm not convinced I'm putting these in right. That seems too simplistic. Are those in right? Yeah, they are. Okay. It just seemed too simple. It almost seems too easy. There's a bit of that going on. But it seems too easy because it is easy. It's fine with me. Okay, so that's that one in. That one screwed down. This one in here. It's that one more. This was very easy. That's the thing, I'm doubting myself. Because it's so easy, I'm like, it can't be that simple. It is. There we go. And then that is that one built. See, look at that soot pattern. I like this. That looks cool, right? That looks really cool. You can see where the flame would have come out. Now, we have got the magnifying lens in there. That should enhance the bulb. That feels loose. Not happy about that. Not happy about that at all. But that's what it is. There's no other way to secure that down in there. I'm not happy about that at all. But I would imagine that's going to screw onto something, so that'll secure that in place. But okay, so that's that one done. Let's have a chat. Done. Nice and simple. I was a little concerned about it being wobbly, but I know in the next one we're extending this, so it's going to lock in place, so I'm not that worried about it. But that's all for this one. That's all for the build instructions for this one. So if you are just sticking around for the build instructions, thank you for stopping by. Please remember to like and subscribe. Helps the channel massively. For those who sticking around for our bat chat, we were talking about Superman Returns. And about how this came to be. Well, before Superman Returns, the same year that Batman Begins was released, a Superman film was originally supposed to be released that year. And pre-production had begun on it. And it was called Superman Flyby. And it was going to be very early noughties action movie. Now, if you want an example of what I'm talking about, an example of an early noughties action movie, Triple X, Bad Boys 2, Charlie's Angels, The Fast and the Furious, they all had a very specific look to them, and Superman Flyby was going to be like that. It was going to be like a high action concept movie, and ultimately fell through. So how did this one come about? Well, Bryan Singer was an all-time high at this point. I mean, his career has somewhat taken a dive these days. But everything he touched turned to gold. So he'd done The Usual Suspects and At Pupil, he'd done X-Men 1 and 2, and made Marvel a boatload of money. Well, made Fox a boatload of money. So he came up with the concept of Superman returning to Earth 5 years after Superman 2. After Superman 2, he goes on, some soul-searching mission, returns to Earth, and he pitched it to the wife of Richard Donner, who directed the original Superman movie, who happened to be the producer of X-Men 2. She then subsequently pitched it to her husband, who gave glowing reviews and endorsements to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers decided they want to go with it, so they cancelled Superman Flyby, and they managed to poach Bryan Singer away from Marvel to direct DC movies. This was a big coup for them at the time. This was a really big deal. That the Marvel movie guy was going to DC. I mean, that's how it happens all the time now, but at the time, this was a really big deal. So then the question is, okay, so we've got our director, we've got our writer, who's going to play Superman? So they held open auditions. Jim Caviezel showed big interest in playing Superman, and they basically said no. They said Superman needs to be an unknown. That was Bryan Singer's thing. It's got to be an unknown. And I think it was based on kind of Christopher Reeve being a relative unknown when he was cast as Superman. But they said, in order for it to be, you can't focus on the actor, you got to focus on the character, and I get that. So they had open auditions, Canada, Europe, America, UK, everywhere, to find Superman. And a bunch of people auditioned for Superman that you probably heard of. Chris Pratt being one of them. Chris Pratt, who wanted to be Star-Lord, auditioned to be Superman. Tom Welling, who was in Smallville, did audition to be Superman in the movie, but they decided they didn't want to do that. They wanted this to be its own thing. And another one that auditioned for Superman Returns was this guy. Yeah, Superman auditioned to be Superman before. So Henry Cavill became quickly known as Hollywood's Nearly Man. He made it down to the last three to be considered for Batman in Batman Begins and wasn't. He then made it down to the final two to be Superman. didn't get the Superman role. He also made it down to the final 2 for Bond, believe it or not. So the same year this was happening, Casino Royale was going into pre-production, and he was down to the final 2 to play Bond. So he was nearly Bond, he was nearly Batman, he was nearly Superman. I'd be pissed at this point if I was him, but in the scheme of things, I think he's done all right. So they went with Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh, at this point, his biggest deal was he'd been in an episode of a show called Oliver Bean, which was a sitcom set in the 1950s. That was it. So no one really knew him. And I mean, in his defence, he looks the part. However, I think he just looks a lot like Christopher Reeve. I think that's why he got the job. I think he just looks like Christopher Reeve. See what I mean? So the announcement came that Brandon Routh was playing Superman, and it was met with universal, who? Because no one knew. So like, who's this guy? So I don't think it did them the favour that they wanted it to do. I just think it made a lot of people ask, I don't know who this is. Who is this guy? So you've certainly got no star power drawing anyone to Superman Returns. You are purely having to go on people wanting to see a Superman movie. But when the last 2 Superman movies you delivered to them was the much derided Superman 3, which I appreciate has found a cult following now, but critics and audiences hated Superman 3. And Superman 4 is an abomination. How that ever got made is anyone's guess. So again, to assume that the audience are just going to want to see a Superman film, I think is a little short-sighted, but it is what it is. So we've now got Superman, we've got director, and we're off to the races. All we need to find now is Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, and we're good to go. But who are going to play those, who was considered for those, and who did they ultimately settle on? We'll talk about that in issue 49 of Hachette's Build the Batmobile Tumbler, which will be coming up very soon indeed. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice, and we will see you very, very soon back here for issue 49. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. Your help's very much appreciated. Take care, and I'll see you soon.